Well, hello and welcome back to another cashflow video. This is Rob Minton. Yes, coffee with Rob. This is the routine, normal routine, right? Every morning, coffee, notepad, and I try to take this and put it here. I try to learn from mistakes, think through ideas. It's the most valuable time of the day. Hopefully, recording these videos during this morning coffee talk is adding value in some level for your life. And today I want to talk about something important, and it's going to sound a little weird, but I think once you hear me out on this, you'll find it to be helpful. One of my goals is to live life well, right? I want to live a good life. If I remember correctly, this idea of trying to live a good life came years ago. I'd interviewed, and I think her name is Sarah Suzenka. She wrote a book about, she was like more of architecture, but it was how you design a smaller home to be a home that you love. In that book, she mentioned living a good life. And since I heard that, I've been like trying to figure out how do you live a good life. And I think the answer is different for everybody, but I think there's some commonalities. Now, to live a good life, you have to understand something really important that we really don't understand when we're young. I am going to be 54 here. It's in the next few months. I've learned this lesson because I've made numerous mistakes. This idea is that life really is a game of navigating traps. Good traps and bad traps, right? So to live a good life, you have to try to get yourself in lots of good traps and avoid lots of negative traps. That's pretty much the game we're playing. And I'm going to start with defining what a negative trap is because they are the most problematic, obviously, right? A negative life trap is anything that makes your life worse, that restricts your freedom in any way. And a key commonality on almost every single negative life trap is that they are hard to get out of. They are very easy to get into, very hard to get out of, right? So an easy way to kind of give you an example of a negative life trap might be alcohol and drugs. Very easy to walk into this trap. Once you're in, it can be very hard to get out. And while you're in this trap, the longer you're in this trap, the worse your life gets. And the crazy part about just about every single negative trap is that we think that the trap is going to be good for us or it's going to make our lives better. And then when you get into it, we realize, oh shit, this is not good, right? So alcohol makes life worse. We think it makes things more enjoyable. We think it's fun. We think we enjoy it. If you're going to a social situation that's a little bit awkward, we think alcohol improves that situation. I used to think that there were health benefits to drinking wine. So we think the trap is good for us when it's bad for us. We all know, right? Alcohol is not good for us. It's not good for your health, right? It messes up your sleep. And if you're watching this video, you're trying to improve your life in some way, and alcohol is taking you further away from that goal. We all struggle. I struggle with this. It leads to an unhealthy body. I mean, it just causes numerous problems. And then we get into the situation where you say or do things that embarrass you, you make some kind of mistake, you have regret, and alcohol significantly increases your risk, right? You could do something stupid that injures you or someone else or puts you in jail. Like, there's just no benefit to alcohol, yet we think there are benefits. So it's a trap that is very, very hard to get out of. And if you would like to learn how to get out of this trap, I recommend this book. It's titled Kick to Drink by Jason Vale. I read this book a few months ago. Very helpful for me. It really helped me dial back my drinking significantly. So please get that book. I'll probably talk about alcohol in another video, but for now, I would highly recommend that book. Another negative trap is, we'll just say debt. I'll be more specific, credit card debt, right? So credit card debt, very easy to get into. And in fact, there's usually incentives for you to get into this negative trap. There's either you get a coffee mug or a shirt, or maybe you get some kind of bonus points. There is an incentive for you to walk into the trap. And then once you're in the trap and you have credit card debt, it's very hard to get out of. And it's very hard to get out of because interest rates are so high. They're 20, 25%. It's almost impossible to pay that debt off. So it's a very negative trap. Once you're in, it causes all kinds of problems going forward. It restricts your freedom. It forces you to continue working for money. Lots of problems and challenges from credit card debt. Another negative trap may not seem like a negative trap until you think this through. This negative trap could be a good job. And I'm going to clarify this. So if you have a good job that you enjoy and love, then that is not a negative trap. It's probably a good trap for you. But if you have a good job that you hate or that you do not enjoy, that is actually a negative trap. I know this because when I graduated from college, I was in accounting. and I was working for a large public accounting firm. I was a CPA. I was working massive hours. I had a great job, but I hated it. I hated every minute of it. Sunday night I had a pit in my stomach because the work week was starting. If you have a good job that you hate, it's a negative trap. Now, thankfully for me, I got out of that trap when I was young. My wife and I didn't have any children, so I was able to quit. Had I stayed in that trap a little longer and we had our first daughter, I would have been locked in. I would have been trapped for the rest of my life. Good job, hard to leave if you have a lot of expenses. If you have kids, you're now kind of stuck in that good job, and you have to try to leave one good job for another good job. And the whole key is finding a job that you enjoy, which can be challenging, right? Another bad life trap could be a marriage. If you get married and you have a hard, challenging marriage, very hard to get out of, very expensive from what I've been told to get out of. Close friends that have gone through some brutal divorces, and it's just the mental and physical toll, the toll on the family, very hard to get out of a bad marriage, right? I'll share one more bad trap and then we can dig into some of the good traps. This bad trap is poor health. Very easy to walk into this trap, drink a lot, eat a lot of garbage food, don't exercise, and you're in this trap. You're gonna not have very good health, right? Once you're in this trap, very hard to get out of. You got to change how you eat. You've got to exercise. You've got to go through the soreness and the suffering to get yourself out of this trap. And like every other bad trap, the longer you are in the trap, the worse it is and the harder it is to get out of. All right, now let's switch gears and talk about good traps. A good trap is anything that makes your life better, anything that expands your freedom. Once you're in a good trap, the longer you're in it, the more benefits you receive. The hard part about good traps is that they are challenging to get into. Negative trap, very easy to get into. Good trap, hard to get into. I'm going to go in reverse order, right? So let's say you want to have a healthy body, you want to have a strong fitness level. Hard to get into that trap, right? You've got to exercise, you've got to use discipline, you've got to sleep well, you've got to eat the right foods, you've got to do all this hard stuff to get into this trap. Once you're in the good trap, and you stay in that good trap by maintaining those healthy habits, a good marriage is a great trap to be in. Very hard to develop, right? Being married, man, it's tough, right? To develop a good, strong relationship. It requires a great deal of compromise. I always joke around that, we've been married, it'll be 31 years here soon. Throughout these 31 years, there's maybe been 10 times that I've been right. It's kind of a joke us guys have, but there's some truth to that, right? And that is the truth behind that is that you have to put the other person first in order to develop a good marriage. And that can be challenging to do. Once you're in a good marriage and you've put the work in, both of you guys have put the good work in, it's amazing. It makes life better, right? All kinds of future benefits from that good marriage. Another good trap could be investing in residential real estate. It can be hard to do this, right? You've got to find a good property. You've got to buy the property. You've got to get the property ready to show. You've got to show the property, screen tenants. You've got to manage the property. Hard to get into this good trap, but once you're in it, you have many benefits that you get to enjoy going forward. The longer you own that rental property, the more benefits you receive. So every month you'll hopefully have some cash flow. You can use that to offset your expenses. You can use it to buy additional assets. You're receiving tax benefits. The tenant is paying down your mortgage, and hopefully the home is appreciating in value. So numerous benefits that continue to follow you for years to come once you're in that good trap. And I'll share just one more good trap and then we'll wrap up this video. And this good trap is a positive cash flow business. And when I say that, I mean a business that provides you with attractive income with minimal overhead and minimal risk. So this is a business that makes your life better, right? It provides income that you can use to offset your living expenses, income that you can use to travel, to pay off your debt, to buy other assets. A positive cash flow business makes life great. A negative cash flow business makes life bad, right? So a good job is a good trap if you enjoy it. Business is a good trap if it provides you with the things that you want in life. If you own a business that is very stressful, that has lots of overhead, that keeps you awake at night, that is probably a bad trap, okay? So my hope with this video is to give you the opportunity to think about good life traps and bad life traps. If you find yourself in a bad life trap, you have to take the steps necessary to get out of that trap. And in many cases, those steps are challenging, they're difficult, they're painful, they're hard, but the only way you're ever gonna get out of that trap is to take those steps. So the other important thing to think about is that if you're about to do something, try to think through, is this a negative trap? right? Is this something that's easy to get into and very hard to get out of? And if that's the case, then just stay away from it. Don't do it. There's more benefits to not walking into that trap. Maybe a lot of this comes with time and age and wisdom, but if you are younger and you're watching this video, really think about what I've shared for you, because if you can avoid negative traps and get yourself into some good traps, you're going to live an incredible life. That's my hope for you. Now, get out there and get to work. Get out of those negative traps.